Hey, Doc. Giannis probable. Is he expected to go today?
He's good. Okay. Yeah. I haven't checked, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you that early.
I know it's early, but this Boston 51.5 threes per game.
Yeah.
I know Joe said, hey, if that's the 2-for-1 matchup and that's a shot, that's a shot. But what do you have you seen from them and how best to counteract that, I guess?
Just the continued growth from them. They're I always say they're a made basketball team now. They play without any obstacles. Winning that title has taken them to another level, and you can feel it when they play. They have complete trust in the past. They trust each other. They play together, and there's nobody in the league that does it better than them right now. And they're showing it every night.
Last night you mentioned how the Nets took 17 more shots than you did.
Yeah.
That possession battle is a hot topic with coaches around the league. How do you feel like your team wins the possession battle on a given night?
Well, since we're in Boston, as Red Auerbach used to say, get the ball and don't give up the ball. It's literally as simple as that. And we've been giving up the ball too much. We're not getting the ball. A lot of loose ball rebounds, long rebounds that we're just not getting to. And that's been through training camp. So that's not like last night was not a one-time thing.
Hey, Coach. So I was asking Coach Mazzulla about what he likes from Jason Tatum so far to start the season. He said he's playing really balanced basketball, and he has a good awareness on how he's being guarded. So how do you defend Jason Tatum coming into tonight?
Well, it's just difficult. Again, it's like last night. Great players are great players. And you try your best to make it a difficult night for him. He's gotten better going right on his shots. He wants to shoot going left most of the time. But he is playing great. I mean, his shots, are still difficult, but he makes a lot of them.
Giannis talked about after the game last night that you guys aren't really playing with an identity right now. I'm just curious of first your just thoughts to that comment and what would you like to see the guys, get back to as far as identity?
Well, he's right. We're playing with no pace, with no power. We did it one game and that's it. So I guess there's a blueprint that we can do it, but we just haven't done it.
And then just it's been a minute to ask you about Chris. Kind of what has he been able to do? How has he started to progress?
It's getting closer. I think I've said that now every game. So, yesterday I know he had a good workout. I want to say 2-2 or 3-on-3. So he's progressing. There's no return date or anything like that yet.
Has he gotten to fives yet?
No.
Is there any timeline on that?
No.
And obviously the last
None that we'll hold up to, so
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't want to give you one. So
The last couple games, obviously Kobe and Zach did well the other night, and then Cam and Dennis did last night.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific that those guys were doing that led to them having success?
yeah, I mean a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of attacks downhill, a lot of beating us off the dribble. I thought we've had one physical game, and that was against Philadelphia. I thought they came out ready to play, and we were very physical. And honestly, we have not been that way since. So we have to get back to physicality.
Doc, Paul, KG, and Ray were here for
Yeah,
Ray
that
night
was
and
awesome.
handing off the
Yeah.
trophy. How special is it and lifelong to win a championship for this city?
Well, it's amazing. As the people in this room who've been here understands it, it's cool. Each guy sent me that picture separately. I think they were trying to tell me, hey, look at us. We're getting along. I don't know what it was about. It was hilarious. But I got a bing, then I got a bing, and then I got a bing. So it was pretty funny. It was cool to see, though. It needed to be seen and done. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cities. But this city winning is pretty special. There's no doubt about that.
Coach, you cut a PSA with the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff. For folks who didn't see the ad, I'm wondering if you could relay that message and why you chose to participate.
You want me to do a PSA right now? Is that what
Maybe
you're
an
saying?
abbreviated version, yeah.
No. It's just, it was really about voting. Obviously I'm biased, and I'm not going to do a pop here today. He was right, everything that he said. I just think this election is really important. I mean, if you saw Madison Square Garden, I mean, come on now. Like, right? So to me, it's so important to vote. I'm going to keep it as close to that as possible, but my gosh, and when I tell people the guy was so great, then why did 80 million people vote against him, in the last time he ran, so I don't know. I don't get it. I don't. But we got to do something about that. Was atrocious what we saw. If you're a black man or a woman or brown, Latino or Puerto Rican, or they hit everybody, and it was awful.
Hey, Doc, I saw Rondo's been able to be with you guys a little
Yeah.
bit through the start of the year. How did
Coach
that,
Rondo, thank you.
Yeah. How do you, how did that come together? What kind of future do you see for him in coaching? And did you ever imagine that he would be on, your staff one day?
Well, I didn't know I'd still be coaching. But, yeah, I knew he would coach if he wanted to do that. He definitely has the smartest player I've ever coached. It's been a 2-year thing of me trying to get him to do it. He's kind of dabbled in it. He kind of looks at it. He's got a son, then that's the puller. It's not that he didn't want to be a coach. He's got a son that's a really talented player, and he's working with him. So we're crafting out a schedule right now to try to give him enough time to be there and to be with us. The one thing I can tell you, just through training camp that he spent, he's hooked now. He loves it. It's in him, and once it gets in you, it can't get out of you. So that was my goal, and then the next steps are whatever happens.
Doc, you were 30-something when you got your first NBA job, and now you're 60. What's the
Jesus, Gary, what the hell?
trying to,
Don't throw my age out like
I'm
that.
trying to set it up. I'm sorry, Doc.
Wow, it's offensive.
What's it like to coach young men? The difference between 2003 and now 2024.
It's completely different. It's probably, I can say I've gone through at least two different changes in the way people are. You have to communicate differently. They have so many things thrown at them now. They have so many people pulling on them now. They all have their own, brand and likeness and everything else, and it's real, and you feel that. You have to be very careful, even as a coach now, what you say. I mean, I make a comment as a joke, and I read it the next day, and it's taken completely in a different way. And I used to love kidding around with you guys. It's very dangerous to do that now, because the player may read that because it's written differently, and so you just everything's different, and it is. It's but I will say, and I love getting in these arguments with KG and all these guys, that it's harder for these guys in a lot of ways because of that. Think about my first 8 years as a player. Now this is going to be an age thing for you, young man. There was no cell phones. They hadn't been invented. We were talking to each other on the bus. Think about that. It's serious. You're talking about team communication. When we got on the bus as players, we actually talked to each other. And no one from the outside world, and this is one of the things Pat Riley we were talking about recently, no one from the outside world can get to your players. Now you have their skill development coaches texting them, take more shots. Usually that's what they all text. It's just harder. But the same joy is still there at the end of the day through all that. It's just a different workload.